You remember when this happened, when Trump was president?
Yes, I remember covering that with you.
Handshakes, Kim Jong-un, and then it says talks of peace sinks U.S. defense stocks.
Yeah, what?
So
thanks a lot, Trump.
So Tucker Carlson is going to let you know why Trump was indicted. So we all know Trump got indicted. It's, again, the most garbage of garbage things. It's about some he didn't handle classified documents correctly.
But like, for what I understand, taking home classified documents is basically the same as taking home a stapler.
Yeah,
at this point,
they all do it. A and B. By the way, he's the guy who determines what's classified and what's not. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
There's nobody higher than anyway. So that's so Tucker Carlson's going to tell you. So he did another monologue. It's Tucker Carlson's third show on Twitter. And I'm just going to show you the last couple of minutes, and this is what it's really all about.
But what about voters? What are they learning from this spectacle? Well, mostly they're learning that they have no power at all because nobody cares about them. But they already knew that. Unlike so many of our elected leaders, they have been to America recently. They know what it looks like. Have you seen it? If you've got a few days this summer, find out. Take a road trip and see for yourself. Drive 500 miles in any direction and then come home. How are things looking? Well, they should look great. The federal government spent $6.5 trillion last year. That's more than any government has ever spent, ever. So at the very least, you would expect pristine public roads. Oh, no. That's not what you see when you drive around this country. There are potholes and Jersey barriers everywhere. Looks like Tegucigalpa before the Chinese decided to rebuild the infrastructure of Honduras. We don't have China buying our roads.
So the point that Tucker's making right now is that our government is so corrupted that we're ending the way all empires end. We're spending all this money on nothing, meaning it's just going right to corruption. And that's what it is. The CARES Act was nothing but corruption. That was a $5 trillion corruption package that Bernie Sanders and all the Democrats said was good for you, and they all lied. And what he's pointing this out, that we're not even, our country is crumbling underneath us. Our infrastructure is crumbling as we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to corrupt countries. We're spending all kinds of money, but we're not spending it on us. And you know who else made that point? The guy who was just on this show, Chris Hedges, in his book called America, the Farewell Tour. He documents the hollowing out of America's infrastructure in our cities because of neoliberalism, capitalism. Well, Tucker Carlson is onto that too. Now he knows that the government is completely corrupted and that we're spending all our money on empire and none of it on our own people. And that's the point he just made. But the bigger point is that everybody in the news business is on board for that agenda. And he's the only one pushing back, which is why he got fired. He's got a little bit more to say.
So they're falling apart. You'd think the people you would pass on your road trip would look happy and prosperous. Again, this is a very rich country. But a lot of them don't. Quite a few appear to be strung out on drugs. You see them shuffling by shuttered storefronts in small towns. And you wonder, as you see all of this, where did all the money go? It's certainly not here. Well, it's in Washington. It's in Fairfax and Loudoun counties, and in leafy, perfectly manicured Northwest D.C. And of course, a huge chunk of it went to Ukraine, to Zelensky and his friends. Not because you voted for that. You didn't vote to give it to them. You never would. But because Joe Biden and his many allies, from Chuck Schumer to Mitch McConnell to Paul Ryan, and every single news anchor on all of television, all of them believe that Ukraine, its borders, its future, its infrastructure are all more important than the town that you live in. They sincerely think that, and it's obvious. Everyone in power thinks that.
Everyone in power thinks Ukraine is more important than fixing homelessness in America, or fixing a bridge in America, or getting a living wage in America, or getting free college in America, or ending student debt in America, or anything in America. Why? Because they're not there to serve you. They're there to serve their corporate donors, which is why we live in a completely 100% corrupted country, which is why that military budget that's $1 trillion is $1 trillion of complete corruption. So, and he's pointing that out. And the only other politician, the only person in America who's in power who doesn't believe that, he's going to tell you, hang on, let me back it up.
Everyone in power thinks that. Except for Donald Trump.
Except for Donald Trump.
Whatever else you say about him, Trump is the one guy with an actual shot at becoming president who dissents from Washington's long-standing pointless war agenda. And for that one fact, they're trying to take Trump out before you can vote for him.
That's it.
And that should upset you more than anything that's happened in American politics in your lifetime. Even if you don't plan to vote for Donald Trump, even if you would die before voting for Donald Trump, which is your right, and a lot of good people feel that way, even still, the destruction of our democracy, which is the right of voters to support any candidate they want, even candidates who don't want war with Russia, the destruction of that should keep you up at night. Yes, Donald Trump is a flawed man, but his sins are minor compared to those of his persecutors. In this life, we don't get to choose our martyrs. We can only choose our principles, and America's are at stake.
So he's 100% correct about all that. And that's what's wild. He's sounding a lot more like Chris Hedges sounded in this book. That's because that's what the whole book is all about, what Tucker Carlson just said. Take a drive around America, and that's what Chris Hedges does. And he reports back from what he sees. And America is a hellscape of de-investment. And we have sucked all the wealth out of America and put it into pockets of capitalists, and they take it to other countries, and they give it to the military-industrial complex, Wall Street, Big Pharma, and they send it to places like Ukraine, Syria, Yemen. You see all those military bases? Oh, I can't believe I don't have this loaded in here. You know that video I show of all the military bases around America? It's jaw-dropping. Around the country, around the world, it's jaw-dropping. No other country's doing that. So there is Tucker Carlson now sounding like Chris Hedges in defense of Donald Trump, who is being persecuted because he's against the war machine. That's the craziest thing. Here's what Glenn Greenwald says about it. Democrats and the GOP will bicker about trans kids, abortion, and gun control. But on the issues where power and wealth are determined, wars, Russia and China, the U.S. security state, AOC and Paul Ryan have the same views, as do Marco Rubio and Nancy Pelosi, and the New York Times conservatives and Biden. So that's what they all agree on. They all agree on war. They all agree on empire, hegemony, imperialism, screwing over the workers. They just all screwed over the railroad workers. They all agreed on it. All the Democrats voted for it. Of all the class, and then so now they're saying this, Kurt, it's because of Trump with his classified documents. So now,
yeah, right.
So first of all, I just wanted to let everybody know Tucker was on. So that's, and Tucker might have crushed it again. Could you go to Tucker's Twitter and see how many views that video got so far?
What's Hillary's response to the Trump thing where it's but her emails hashtag but her email? Have you seen that?
Oh no, I haven't.
Where it's to, if someone goes, "What about Hillary's emails?" It's to preemptively mock someone saying that in defense of Trump.
Oh, really? Did you see how many views it got?
I have 72.5 million. Episode 3, America's Principles Are at Stake.
So you tell me how many views Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN got yesterday talking about Trump's indictment. He just got almost a third of the country to watch that.
Well, is there
now again, people with Twitter, sometimes it's the difference between a video view and a tweet view are different. But he's still crushing it beyond belief. Go ahead.
Who the hell sits through an entire CNN show that's not at the airport or what? Like, whatever the engagement, I bet it's the same. Because I've never, at the times I did watch CNN, I didn't just sit and watch CNN. Who would watch that?
Hey, come see us live on tour. Be in Bakersfield, Baltimore, San Francisco, Huntington Beach, Rosemont, and Chicago, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, New York City, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Stamford, Connecticut, and more.
Hey,
go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.